There's one thing that will forever change the way you sleep, and it's the softest 100% organic cotton sheets from Boll & Branch. You'll fall asleep faster, wrapped in the most luxurious comfort. You'll never sleep hot again with sheets that feel breathable to sleep in. You'll experience the purest softness on night one and feel your sheets get even softer with every wash. Discover the difference with 15% off your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com with code CUMULUS. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
This is Sean Elliott, head coach of the Georgia State Football Panthers. You're listening to the Fun Belt Podcast.
If you didn't know before, now you know why they call this the Fun Belt.
I'm very excited about the Sun Belt.
You know, while other conferences have been breaking up, our conference has become stronger.
The state of Sun Belt football is the strongest in our history.
I saw Fun Belt Conference, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got to join the show. It sounds a lot of fun.
Fun Belt Podcast. It is beyond the midpoint of the season as we get ready for another week of Sun Belt Conference action. Dusty Thibodeau, Warhawk Report, Jeremy Harper of HowlRazor.com, Shane Metlin of the Daily News Record. Guys, before I even intro and ask you how things are going, Jeremy, we've been through the ringer together for many, many, many years.
Absolutely.
We have drank in empty bars.
Had some cheese kernels
at a bar that no longer exists. We broke bread many a times.
Yeah.
Which brings me to those great fond memories that we have where I owe you, Jeremy, an apology for inferring that the fine people of Jonesboro and Arkansas State only have veterinary clinics for the caring of their medical needs. They have a world-class veterinary facility. My assumption was that they could do it all, but apparently that is not the case, and I apologize to you for inferring that the veterinary school at Arkansas State University is worldly renowned and can handle any situation thrown at them.
First of all, yes, there is a lot of good quality veterinary care in Northeast Arkansas. But also Jonesboro is the retail, cultural, and medical center of Northeast Arkansas. So, no apologies necessary, Dustin. I don't know where this is coming from. Why do you feel this need to apologize?
I just felt that I had wronged you in the former Indians and now Red Wolves of that region.
Well, no slight taken.
That's good that you're taking it so well, Jeremy, because it seems like other people were a little bit offended that Dusty insinuated that people have to go to the vet if they're in Jonesboro.
And quite frankly, I think those people are a little high strung. Maybe a little too self-serious. But no, they're no harm, no foul, Dusty. I don't know what that's all about.
I mean, I'd be going to a special if I was pissing till.
Now you've done it.
Yeah, isn't that indicative of a couple major venereal diseases? I don't know.
It's a Texas showdown in the postseason, and BetOnline is your number one source for all of your baseball wagering information. With up-to-date stats, scores, news, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals for the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates and statistics, news, and odds. We have everything you need to stay up to speed on each LCS all the way to the World Series. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Don't forget to use your promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.
Talking about fine medical care
in
a Sunbelt town, my photographer, when we arrived in Huntington, was incredibly intrigued by the fact that there was a dispensary across the street from the stadium.
Wait, like a dispensary of candy?
So, yeah, something like that.
Wow, I didn't know it was legal there. That would be great.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel so left out being in Texas that we get none of the fun stuff. I can't legally book sports books. I can't go to dispensaries.
No,
Can't
well,
go to a casino.
In Arkansas, we had the opportunity of having recreational dispensaries, and Arkansas just said no. We don't want those taxes. So
That's what I'm all about, taxes. So I don't have to spend so much in property tax.
yeah, no kidding. I kind of thought it was going to pass, and it was just like, nope, no, rather just drink our liquor. We're happy with that.
So how's everybody else doing?
No.
On this fine afternoon, pre-Thursday night Fun Belt action.
Getting ready for Halloween. Do you guys dress up?
No.
I am dressed up.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. And no, Shane, you don't even know with the kids?
No.
Yeah.
I think one year I wore a like flannel shirt and I had a Sub Pop t-shirt and I just said I was like a 90s guy, but I was really just wearing my own clothes.
You're just wearing what you regularly wear.
Yeah.
I don't normally dress up either, but we have a party every year on Halloween. It doesn't matter what day of the year it falls on. Like I think it falls on Tuesday this year. We're going to have a party. It's not really a party. It's just sort of a neighborhood thing. People can come over. My son, he's 16. He'll bring a bunch of his friends over. Megan and I, my wife and I, we're going to be 80s fitness gurus. So it's the loud jogging outfit, the big hair, the headband.
Wasn't that the theme of one of the American Horror Stories there?
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Yeah, I kind of stopped watching American Horror Story. Yeah, like I watched like 5 seasons of that. And then I was like, done. I was finished. I was through. But yeah, that's what's going on here, Dusty. How about you? Everything all right in Houston?
Fantastic. Getting ready to pack up, head north to good old Fun Row for homecoming as ULM looks to snap a 13-game losing streak to Arkansas State. That puts it back at 2009. I don't think things were in color back then or TV had been invented, any of the other cliche things that you want to say. We're hoping that this ends the drought.
Yeah, that is a long time. And it's not like Arkansas State and ULM only play like every 2 or 3 years. It's every damn year. You always seem to have an opportunity to break that streak, and it just doesn't seem to happen. But that's something we can discuss in Second and Short, Dusty. That's the appropriate time to discuss that, right? But
I'd rather not talk about it.
What we should be discussing is those Astros, huh?
They've won a World Series since I left, but yeah, I was there for the initial one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kind of fell apart this year, though, huh?
It happens.
Did you leave the Astros to go work for the University of Michigan?
That's not very funny there, Shane. But
wow,
as much as we roast Jamie Chadwell, did you see on the X where he had the picture at a Liberty game of 2 Michigan fans, and he goes, "Should I be worried that there's Michigan fans at my game?"
For the win, Chadwell. Did you see that my Arkansas State Red Wolves picked up a pretty big recruit?
Literally.
Guy's named Josh Hill, 6'11" guy, top 100 kind of guy. Brian Hodgson on his horse, getting some dudes in Jonesboro. So we're pretty excited. They're having an exhibition game tonight. I think they're crushing some poor no-name team 100-50 right now.
Are these even officially exhibition games, or are they more just scrimmages?
All right, so here's the thing. Here's what I've learned. Now, NCAA normally allows you to have one exhibition game, right? Like from another team, like for public. Like you can schedule another team to come to your house and have a closed door game if you want. But if you have another one, you can have 2. If one, the proceeds all go to charity. So I think in a couple more days from now, we have another exhibition game with UCA, Central Arkansas, and that money, the proceeds to that game goes to tornado victims that in Central Arkansas. So I think that's pretty cool. It's cool that they collect that money.
That is always good. I saw that the Mustard Buzzards had already broken out the horrendous gold, black, and white striped pants as they played. I think they're D3 Delta State there in Mississippi. Beat them, I don't know, like 400-20 or something like that. It wasn't a fair fight. I just didn't know what they counted as. Were they exhibitions or actual just scrimmages?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think if there's any like photos or stats or anything like up on the website, then it's an exhibition. If it's if we're hearing about it from Chili Donovan or somebody like that on Twitter, then it's a closed scrimmage.
Okay. So we got that down.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do it, guys? Do we have anything else to discuss?
That's all I got for you. Administrators actually just left Atlanta, where there was the 2-day meetings. I don't know what season we're in, fall, winter meetings, whatever you want to call them. Big news there. JMU, of course, gets the academic award. Go figure. The rich kids keep getting richer and have the money to have books, whereas the rest of us have to have PDFs and hopefully have that old 486 computer that can open the PDF. Carlton Marshall was the male athlete of the year. I forget her name. She played softball at Louisiana Lafayette and is now in the Women's Professional Softball League, was female athlete of the year.
Wow. All right.
That's all I got for you.
That was all good information, Dusty. Thank you.
Now we go to second short.
Now it's time for second short. So there'll be a gong sound effect that I'll bring in when I say second and short. Yeah, you guys can almost hear it, right? Second and short. Go ahead, try it, Shane.
Second and short.
Oh, there it is.
All right.
Yeah. Dusty, give it a try.
Tush, push, and short.
No, that didn't work. Try it again.
Field goal, kids. Field goal.
No. Dusty, you can't make friends with the gong if you don't try to make friends with the gong.
I have no friends right now, Jeremy. I mean, I had to apologize to you to kick off the show.
You're public enemy number one. Hated. Just south of here. All right. Second and short. Boom. Week 9. You know how it works. We bring up the game that's coming up. We talk about it. I throw it to Shane or Dusty. You pontificate. We move on. We try to keep it around 2 minutes because it's second and short. Let's go, guys. First game of the week for the Sun Belt. Thursday night action. Seems like we're doing this every week now. No more Tuesday night action, which is nice. Huge in-state rivalry. What's funny about this rivalry is that they kind of pretend they're not rivals, but they really are. Georgia State 6-1 at Georgia Southern 5-2, 6:30 p.m. on ESPN2. The Eagles given that 1.5 point edge by Vegas, presumably because it's being played in Statesboro, but also because Davis Brin just likes to throw a whole lot of interceptions, and Georgia State is just kind of playing lights out right now. Shane, what do you think this game's going to come down to? Is Georgia Southern's the favorite in by the barest margins, but is this Georgia State's game to lose?
I think to some degree. I think you ask what's going to come down to. What does every Georgia Southern game come down to is how many interceptions Davis Brin throws. Seems like. I mean, so that to me, I think that's what makes it hard for me to pick Georgia Southern, is that you just kind of don't know whether it's going to be one of those games that Davis Brin just absolutely carries them to victory, or one where they have to overcome some mistakes by their quarterback. And I mean, the home field advantage I think is going to be big, but it's hard for me to pick Georgia Southern in this one, as well as Georgia State's been playing and as consistent as they've been in most aspects of the game.
You know, Tibbs, it might not even come down to Davis Brin or Darren Granger, both at times very excellent quarterbacks. It might be coming down to the running backs, Marcus Carroll and Jalen Wright. What do you think?
You know, you got to think that Georgia State is the better team coming into this game. I mean, they've actually proven that the Panthers are for real.
Yeah.
But we saw last week where Darian Granger got beat up. Is he going to have any kind of linger effects from that injury? I just can't get past, though, that I feel like this is a trap game and that Southern is going to be a little bit prepared. I think, Shane, you said it best on our recap from last week, that it looked like ULM and Georgia Southern, neither team really wanted to win. It would not surprise me if Helton did enough to prepare to beat ULM last week, but was really already looking forward to the modern day hate and making sure that he can inch Georgia Southern just a little bit closer to evening that series matchup. It's currently at 6-3 since they've both been in the Sun Belt Conference. He wants to make it 6-4 at the end of the game.
And speaking of looking ahead, I believe Georgia State has a date with JMU the next week, and I've been seeing a lot of chatter amongst Georgia State fans talking about that game. Not really as focused as maybe as they should be with the Eagles.
Yeah, a little surprising how much they've talked about JMU, given what you call a non-rivalry, or they want to pretend like it's not a rivalry. But from my short time here in the Sun Belt, like the actual disdain between programs, I don't know if there's two that have more than Georgia State and Georgia Southern.
It's almost disdain to the level of just disgust.
Like I was describing it to somebody just the other day, because we'll get to JMU and ODU playing, but the kind of like rural versus urban dynamic, it's like multiply it by 50, and then it is with the Georgia Southern and Georgia State.
Yeah, and I imagine it gets pretty gross amongst the fans.
Yeah,
I don't want to delve into that, but yeah, I have seen some gross stuff. All right, then things get back to normal. We get Saturday games, right? On October 28th. Here's a tale. This is two of the Sun Belt's hottest britches colliding in Boone. Southern Miss at 1-6. They meet up with Appalachian State 3-4, 2:30 at ESPN Plus. The Mountaineers are a 17-point favorite. But man, you gotta believe that Sean Clark and Will Hall both really want to win this game. Shane, what do you think?
Well, before I make a choice, can you tell me, is this game at the real Rock or the other Rock?
Oh, what does that mean? I'm not sure. Do they both call themselves the Rock?
Yeah.
Yes.
So which one is it at?
Wow.
I'm going to let you get in trouble by saying which one's which.
I'll let Tibbs handle that. He's the lightning rod.
It's the best stadium that I've been to out of the two schools, because I have not been to Hattiesburg for a game.
Oh.
So there we go.
Oh, okay. Good work. Yeah. Ever since they got rid of that track around the field, it's been a top-notch facility. But as far as the game, Shane, what do you see coming out of this?
It is a App State home game, which I think is going to make it tough on Southern Miss. And it feels like Southern Miss is just one thing going against them away from kind of cashing in this season, aren't they? It's been rough, and I feel like App State's maybe trending a little bit in that direction, but like they still got things to play for. They're still, they could run the table and win the East. And as low as everybody's been on Sean Clark right now, like this is a big game for App State and potentially the turnaround game for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, after losing to Old Dominion in that really boring fashion that they did, I imagine Mountaineers fans are just throwing Adirondack-style chairs at each other, and just busting corncob pipes over each other's heads. But the Southern Miss have a chance in hell of winning this game. I got to know, Tibbs.
If Sean Clark and Joey Aguilar and the rest of the gang decide to not show up, yes, the Eagles win hands down. However, as long as they're physically in the stadium, I don't see how this much of a talent that App State has does anything but win in this game. And then that really is going to light the fire under Will Hall, yes, it's a huge buyout that Southern Miss owes him. But do they pull the trigger or try to even negotiate that down to begin the search for another head coach in Hattiesburg?
All right, just bear in mind, though, that the Mountaineers have lost some games that, in theory, it felt like they should have won. So who knows? Maybe there is a sort of a lane for Southern Miss to get this victory, but probably not. Probably not. So at 4 p.m. later that day on ESPN Plus, Tibbs. And you're right. We talked about earlier. Warhawks have not beaten Arkansas State since 2009. And that's not, they haven't beaten Arkansas State in Jonesboro since 2009. They just have not beat Arkansas State in 13 tries. They get another chance. 4 p.m. ESPN Plus. Arkansas State 3-4, ULM 2-5. Warhawks a 2-point favorite in Monroe, and that's probably because they get the home field advantage. But they also got this new freshman quarterback, this Blake Murphy, threw up 300 yards in a loss to Georgia Southern. Tibbs, will we see Blake Murphy at quarterback, or are we going to see another second chance given to Jaya Wright?
So here's the interesting thing. You look at the two deep. Blake Murphy's back to being third. Jai Wright as the starter. And Garcia is the number 2.
Ooh, interesting.
So I think it is Jai Wright. Maybe he is the starter for his senior day, Hoko, whatever other fiesta party that they have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is a must win for the Warhawks. There's only a handful of games left on the schedule that you can really kind of even lightly circle with a pencil and say, yeah, we kind of have a chance. And this is one of them. So for me to cash out my futures bet of over 3.5 wins on the season, I got to get the Warhawks to rally up. Maybe Bowden will let me give a pregame speech. And if not, Jeremy, I will be buying an Arkansas State shirt so that I can wear it, and I will be all Arkansas State in hopes of reversing the curse.
That's awfully sweet. And you're talking about, that bet. You need 3 wins. We need 4. I need 4 for Arkansas State. So it's important financially for me to win that game as well. Shane, outsider looking in, you see me and Tibbs gnashing our teeth, begging for victories here. What do you see maybe with a more clear eye, Shane?
I would ask Dusty, does Bowden play games with the depth chart? It surprises me to see the freshman third after, a pretty good showing, kind of giving your team a shot in the arm, to essentially get demoted. I wonder what's going on, but on the outside,
it wouldn't surprise me if Blake Murphy's not the starter, but in that meeting with the SID on Sunday or Monday, and they're going over game notes and coach, do you have an updated depth chart? Yeah, last week's good. And just not giving it a second thought.
Yeah. Okay. That makes some sense. But
is there some red shirt consideration to that too? Can you sit Murphy for the rest of the year? Okay.
4 games.
Yeah.
So they could pick and choose where they want to play him, I guess, maybe depending on how much of a shot to win they think they have.
And then you just got to make sure that you save one of those 4 games for the bowl game.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Why is it so funny?
Yes, Dusty, of course. You got to make considerations for the bowl game that the Warhawks will most likely be playing. All right.
I'm sorry, Shane. I interrupted your in-depth analysis there of the most
important game. I really just had the question for you. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who to pick. If this was water skiing and or bowling, I would know who I was picking, but I don't know who to pick in a football game.
No, that's tough. Next battle, also at 4 p.m. Louisiana, busy place. Battle of 4 and 3 teams in the Sun Belt West. And this is going to have some bearing as to which team gets to represent the West in the championship and which doesn't. Louisiana, 4 and 3, at South Alabama, also 4 and 3, 4 p.m. ESPN Plus. Jags are a 10-point favorite. They put up 55 points on the Warhawks. And then because they liked that number so much, they did it again against the Golden Eagles, which these days isn't that much of a feat. Now they get the Cajuns. They have a better defense than the other two, 60th nationally. And they're the Cajuns. They know how to win in the Sun Belt West. Tibbs, looking at this game, do you see this as South Alabama's kind of found their mojo and they're going to keep rolling? Or do you see Louisiana kind of putting on their big boy bands and going, hey, listen, we've got the experience here. We're going to be the ones that pull this one out?
It depends on if there's any billboards involved in this game or not.
Oh, yeah, there's none of that. I think the Cajuns learned their lesson from what Southern Miss did, right?
I mean, I like to think that these last two games that we finally seen South Alabama coming around, but I am not picking them to save my life because I've been burned by them so many times. I'm rolling with my guy, Zion Chris, and the Cajuns go into Mobile and showing them who really owns Mardi Gras.
Ooh, okay, because the Cajuns, they're still working the kinks out, freshman Zion Chris, although Zion Chris is an amazing athlete. It's going to be a great quarterback in the future. Shane, what do you see out of this game? Do you think Carter Bradley and his Jags are kind of found their rhythm, or is this just another opportunity for Zion Chris to shine?
I want to believe that South Alabama's figured it out. I mean, we're not talking about the top two teams in the Sun Belt here that they've played against, but outscoring teams 110-10 over a couple weeks is pretty incredible. I want to believe that they figured it out since that JMU loss. They put together back-to-back performances for the first time all year. Makes me think that they've learned something. And I think at home against Louisiana, Carter Bradley and company, I think they can get it done. I'm not 100% convinced. I would not be shocked if I'm dead wrong and they are due for another letdown. But right now, I think they can do it twice in a row. They can do it 3 times in a row.
Shane, what does the great Admiral Akbar say? What is his famous line?
I don't know.
It's a trap. It's a trap. Don't fall for the trap.
You asked the least Star Warsy nerd.
I had to think for a second, like what you were talking about.
Ask him a Star Trek question next time. All right, and here's another intriguing match of 4 and 3 teams, and yet another game where we might be puzzled or sort of pressed to even hazard a guess who's going to win this one. Marshall 4 and 3 at Coastal Carolina, also 4 and 3, 5 p.m. on the NFL Network. The Herd's given a 4-point favorite on this, and probably rightly so. But listen, Coastal Carolina has just won 2 games on the road. One against Appalachian State, the other against Arkansas State. They have Grayson McCall, who may not be playing this week. That's a big thing. That's a big up there. So, Shane, does Marshall kind of shake off this 3-game losing streak that they've had, albeit to quality teams? And do they find their road back with Coastal Carolina, or is Coastal Carolina just going to continue sort of drunken boxing their way into victories?
If both teams were at full strength, I think I'd feel better about Marshall. Even if we don't know what's going to happen with Grayson McCall, but I feel like, Coastal maybe is able to get by with a backup quarterback. Marshall's just, we've talked about this before. Like Marshall is as banged up as about any team I've seen. And it's not even like just the major season ending injuries. It's just guys that are on the field who look like they're not themselves when you watch Marshall play. Even Cam Fancher is out there. He's out there, but so there's times where it looks like he's just ready to get off the field on 3rd down because he's like taking such a beating. So I feel like that's the biggest issue with Marshall right now is there's just a lot of guys are playing, but they're not playing 100% or even close to it.
And Fancher and McCall are but 2 kind of quarterbacks that don't really seem to care about their bodies. They're just going to try to get those yards no matter what. But we can't agree. Whoever loses this game, it's a death gong, right? Pow, they're done. competing in the Sun Belt East, right? I mean, with Georgia State at 6-1, with JMU undefeated, you lose this game, it's pretty much over, right, Shane? I mean, not Shane, right, Tibbs? Don't you think that you got to win this game if you want to theoretically still be in the hunt?
It is definitely a must-win. It's a next game up mentality.
Oh, okay.
Per head Shant, Tim Beck, QB1 is TBD this week, which tells me that he is probably not going to play, but they did not want to release that ahead of time.
Wow.
So McCall still listed number 1 on the depth chart for the Shants, but I fully expect to see Jarrett Guest, the redshirt senior, behind center for this game. He kind of held his own there at Arkansas State. I think the game had already kind of been seeded as far as the tempo and what was going on with it in McCall's half of action there that he had. I like the shots more so because they're at home than anything else. I think if this game was in Huntington, I'd probably pick the Herd, but I think the home team just gets a little bit better of an advantage. You get to sleep in your own bed when you're as beat up as both sides are, and that's really going to be the difference, is that Coastal's at home, sleeping in their bed, maybe not quite as beat up as Marshall, and get the win to kind of cling to hopes of winning the East.
You know, my prediction for this, guys, was if McCall bet at all, no Grayson, losses hasten.
Let's go back to the standings talk just for a minute. Jeremy talking about them being out of it if they lose this. They're definitely in a hole, whoever loses this game. But you got to keep in mind, JMU's not going to play in the championship game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if JMU runs the table, add one loss to everybody's record in the East, 3 losses doesn't necessarily take you out of it. You're in a hole, but right now, let's just say if JMU runs the table, everybody's got 2 losses right there. So you're not entirely out of it. That's if JMU runs the table, which isn't a sure thing.
Shane crunching the numbers, his award-winning acumen for data is coming through here for the Fun Belt podcast.
When you're a Heisman voter, they give you a secret site. It does all the math for you.
Yeah, I can't do math myself.
They give you a solar-powered calculator.
Yeah.
All right. It's like one intriguing game after another, guys. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. The 5-2 Troy Trojans play in San Marcos against Texas State, also 5-2. The Trojans are given a 4-point edge by Vegas, and that's probably because Troy has only given up, I believe it's a total now of 10 points in their last 3 games. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. I mean, if you want to talk who's the best defense in the Sun Belt, I don't know how you not say Troy. Of course, there'll be plenty of people that would advocate for JMU on that. But man, right now the proof is in the pudding what's ever in the pudding for Troy. Texas State though can score some points, and they've shown us that they can win gritty, or they can win in a blowout fashion. So I don't know what they're gonna have to do to beat Troy. But I would like to know what Tibbs thinks about this game.
It's homecoming in San Marcos.
Wow.
There will be people drinking mini Bobcat lagers.
Oh, okay.
Tubing through campus.
Yeah.
Jumping into the great ravine that runs through campus. But it doesn't matter. The Troy Trojans are going there slaying to get ready to defend their SBC West title. They're going to get the win. They're going to move on up the standings, taking over the top spot from the Viva La Boobcats and trying to get that title game back in Troy, Alabama once again.
Ooh, man, that's a pretty strong word, especially from a sort of honorary fan of the Bobcats such as you. But you know what? I think that if we see a crowd wearing handsome Bobcats or Boobcats shirt that's you can get from believe.com, right? Just by checking out our site.
Funbeltpodcast.com.
The Funbelt Podcast. Yeah. Just go check that out. Each shirt is expertly woven and designed to accentuate the most positive aspects of your body. Shane, what do you think of this game? Does Texas State have enough firepower to get through Troy on homecoming in San Marcos?
We'll see, won't we? I mean, it's the highest scoring offense in the Sun Belt against what we're saying is the best defense in the Sun Belt. I think as much as I was trying to pump myself up about South Alabama a few minutes ago, like I think this is the game in the West that decides who's playing on the championship weekend, because I mean that's what the standings tell us right now. That's what it's a big test for Troy going on the road, but I think if they can win, they're in the driver's seat to win the West once again, and I think they're going to get it done. I think it's a more experienced group. They've been in these games before where these kinds of stakes were on the line. It's a little bit different for Texas State. They're building this program right now, and it's impressive what they're doing, but I just like Troy in a big game situation a little bit better.
Whoever wins this game on Saturday wakes up on Sunday atop the Sun Belt West. And that is a pretty good place to be at this point in the season. Last game of the night, this is kind of sneaky for us creatures of the West, Shane, because we don't really take into account the history between these two. But there's some history and there's some heat, and there's also some top 25 consideration here, which is all right, which is nice. Old Dominion, a surprising 4-3 at James Madison, ranked number 25 in the country, 7-0 at 7 p.m. ESPNU. The Dukes, a 19.5-point favorite, but man, the Monarchs have made everyone look stupid this year. They've made their critics look stupid, their supporters look stupid, third-party pundits look stupid, casual observers look stupid, and they've even made themselves look stupid, a la Texas A&M Commerce. Shane, who's going to look stupid Sunday or Saturday night on ESPNU?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much guaranteed to look stupid anytime I go out in public, so there is that. But
yes, well done.
But you talk about the history of this rivalry. I don't know if there's another rivalry in the country where the history goes back decades.
Wow.
And they've played 3 times in football. But in other sports, the history and the hatred goes back a long ways, and it's real. And it's some of the most memorable basketball games and field hockey matches and whatever else you want to look up have in both schools' histories have been against each other. So it's definitely a heated rivalry, and it's fun that it's happening on a big stage in football now. And I think both teams are going to be pretty fired up, pretty keyed up for this one. It's a huge deal recruiting in state right now, especially with the Power 5 teams and Virginia struggling the way they are. It's a big game. And, I look at the matchup right now, JMU, if they play a clean game, they're not going to lose very often just with what their defense is doing. The offense has been solid enough. If they play a clean game, then I don't think you line up 11 on 11 against ODU and there's not a lot of fireworks in terms of turnovers or big special teams plays. I think JMU wins pretty comfortably, but ODU has created those fireworks against a lot of teams this year. They're the ones who are scoring on pick sixes and fumble recoveries for 90 yards and, special teams plays and everything. If they can make that happen again on Saturday, I think it gets pretty interesting and more interesting than JMU fans want it to with a 20-point spread.
So Tibbs, James Madison comes in this game with the weight of being undefeated, with the weight of that number 25 next to their name, with the weight of being in the sort of national imbroglio about whether or not they belong in postseason play. Old Dominion kind of playing with house money, right? Predicted to finish last, kind of being all loose. They get that big win against Appalachian State. They beat Louisiana. They're beating the old school guys of the Sun Belt. They're just having a fun season this year. Could it be that Old Dominion just sort of relaxes their way to another win?
Wouldn't surprise me. I think we see a lot of this in basketball, for instance, where teams are going up against the bigger team. They've never been on the stage. They don't really know what to expect. They don't know that they're supposed to lose. They don't know that they're supposed to be bad or anything like that. That's kind of the way I feel like Old Dominion is. And I like the Monarchs. I think they're clunky. I think their offense is weird. The defense has played pretty lights out. Beyond Jason Henderson, I couldn't tell you another name on that defensive side of the ball, but they're getting it done. And I think that they can kind of hang tough this week against James Madison. I think James Madison is past due for a letdown game. And when Kirk Cignetti slaps that on the board, he's going to call me Saturday night and let me know that I was wrong. But for now, I'm picking all Monarchs to kind of pull the upset and at least cover the spread there, Jeremy.
Ricky Ronnie and Kirk Cignetti, two of perhaps the most cantankerous coaches in the Sun Belt. And that's it, guys. That is Fun Belt Podcast, second and short. Yeah, let that gong ring. All right, well done, guys. Man, you guys did great. Once again, just killing it. Just killing it. I like being part of this.
I like being part of plugs, promos, and parting shots, Jeremy.
Yeah, how come we don't have a gong for that?
You're the sound effect guy. I just work here.
We gotta find the right sound effect. It can't be crickets. That would be insulting. It's gotta be something, that really jazzes it up. Like maybe something that begins with P's too, since it's like a pong or a ping.
Like the old Nokia ringtone for a phone.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I can dig that up. All right, promos. Okay, so HalRazor.com, of which I am the sole editor and writer and publisher, has posted its new preview of the Arkansas State Red Wolves basketball, women's and men's. We talk about some of the players, some of the expectations, some of the off-season moves, and most of all, we talk about the real positive energy that's coming out of Arkansas State right now in regards to basketball, which you may or may not know, Arkansas State has not been a powerhouse in basketball since, ever. One NCAA appearance, 1999, after having just a magic streak through the Sun Belt tournament. But now this could be the year. This could be a good, solid year for Arkansas State under new head coach Brian Hodgson. I encourage you all to read it on HalRazor.com.
I'll do a parting shot. I posted this on Twitter today, but it's inspired by your man Brian Hodgson, Jeremy. Because and not in any bad way, but what is the point of the NCAA rules that you can't talk about the kids that are committed to you when you can take a picture with your arm around them, then have them post it on Twitter, then retweet that on Twitter and like it, and basically make the announcement yourself that this stud recruit has committed to you. But now he cannot ever mention that guy's name until he signs in November. I've been talking about antiquated NCAA rules more than I care to, like the last several months because of all the JMU stuff. But if we're going to talk about antiquated NCAA rules, why are we still making people pretend like they don't know who committed where until they sign? Like,
I don't understand that too. In fact, I was like on a exclusive interview with Brian Hodgson. He was talking to some donor guys. I was among them. And he was like, "Yeah, we got to keep this hush hush. We're gonna get this guy. I can't even tell you who it is, but we all knew who it was, right?" And he's like, "I can't tell you who it is. I'm not gonna say, but actually, we can't. I can't even announce it until November. But I think he's gonna announce, this week." So I'm like, "Yeah, it's like you got to do all this sort of cryptic, Return of the Mummy type style curse reading."
Yeah. If we're at the point where you can basically announce it via social media, why are we still pretending like it doesn't happen if he like is at a press conference. Is all I'm saying.
And why do we give a shit anyway in the age of NIL? I mean, it's just like it all doesn't mean anything anymore anyway. So why are we sticking to these Byzantine rules?
Yes, and anyone who's following recruiting close enough to care knows. So what are we protecting?
Don't know. What maybe fragments of an innocent past, long lost. Shane, it's all gone.
Exactly.
Especially at the G5 level. I mean, I get it at the P5 where what was it they said whenever they were recruiting the Manning kid there for the quarterback that they wound up spending like $200,000 on his recruitment. Yeah, I'd be a little pissed about that. In other news, my plug, as always, funbeltpodcast.com, full catalog of all of our shows dating back to season 1. You can also click on the shop button, get your Viva La Boob Cat, put Irk in the Hall of Fame, the Fainting Goat, as well as our beautiful logo embossed on a t-shirt. Okay. We appreciate that. That'll help us continue to grow the show and finally get Shane to New Orleans for Sunbelt Media Days.
Made with the finest cotton, Dusty, right? I mean, the finest cotton.
And the goat show has real goat hair woven into it. Not really, but it sounded great.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I don't have a quippy ending to the show, Jeremy. I once again apologize to you. And I just want you to know that our bet this week is the loser has to go to the vet clinic and get chipped.
See, you said you didn't have a good quip. And look at you. Oh my God, we're dead.
Just end on that note.
Just make sure your family knows where the will is.
Our final ever edition of Plugs, Plurmos, and Parting Shots.
Is this where we throw in that we're part of the Believe Network?
I don't know if Believe wants us to be on the network anymore.